The full moon illuminated the Sierra de Guadarrama forest with a silver and magical glow, casting dancing shadows over the ground covered with dry leaves. Nutty, the mischievous squirrel, was in his favorite tree, gazing at the starry sky, feeling a mix of intrigue and excitement. He had always been a curious little squirrel, and that night the moon seemed to beckon him for an adventure. "This is the perfect night to explore," he exclaimed, tapping his tiny paws in an animated rhythm. "Who knows what I might find beyond my acorns?" Nutty decided he would set off in search of something extraordinary. He leapt from his tree and with an agile push began to dart through the forest, his heart pounding with anticipation. With each step, the leaves crunched beneath his paws, and the cool night breeze carried the sweet aroma of damp earth. After a while of running, he stumbled upon a clearing he had never seen before. What he found there left him awestruck. A magical field filled with dancing pumpkins, each illuminated by a golden light that seemed to emanate from within. "Wow," Nutty whispered, his eyes shining like stars. "This is incredible. I'll be the most famous squirrel in the forest. Everyone will want to see these wonders." With a wide smile, he raced toward the pumpkins, his mind already filled with dreams of fame and applause. Nutty began to collect the pumpkins, but as soon as he tried to grab the first one, it rolled away as if it had a life of its own. He stood confused, watching the pumpkin drift away, and then, with determination, he tried again. "Hey, come back here," yelled Nutty, leaping after the runaway pumpkin. But to his surprise, the pumpkin started rolling in all directions, creating a scene of pure chaos. Nutty found himself in the middle of a veritable uproar. "Stop! Stop! What's going on?" He jumped from side to side, attempting to catch the pumpkins that seemed to be playing hide-and-seek. The pumpkins spun and leaped as if they were laughing at the little squirrel's frustrated attempts. Seeing the chaotic scene, Eleanor, the wise owl, decided it was time to intervene. She flew low, her wings making a soft whispering sound as they sliced through the air. "Nutty!" she called, landing on a nearby branch. "What are you doing? These pumpkins are not just fruits, they hold the joy of the forest." Nutty paused for a moment, breathing deeply and looking at the owl. "But Elena, I just want to collect them. Think of how famous I could be if I took some home." He was so wrapped up in his thoughts of grandeur that he didn't realize what was truly happening around him. Elena shook her head, her wise eyes observing the little squirrel. "Greed can bring imbalance, Nutty. These dancing pumpkins are not meant to be possessed. They bring happiness when shared. You must respect the magic of the forest." Nutty hesitated, Elena's message beginning to penetrate his mind, but the idea of fame still lured him. "But I just wanted a little recognition," he murmured, looking at the pumpkins that continued to spin and bounce, as if challenging his determination. "I just wanted to do something grand." "Sometimes the greatest achievement is not what you have, but what you share with others," said Elena, landing closer to him, her voice soft and encouraging. Nutty began to realize that perhaps the pumpkins were not just an opportunity for fame, but a chance for something much more valuable. He looked around, seeing the dancing pumpkins and imagining a place where all the forest animals gathered, filled with joy and laughter, instead of one single squirrel standing out. The full moon illuminated the Sierra de Guadarrama forest with a silver glow, reflecting the magic of Halloween night. Nutty, the mischievous squirrel, was completely absorbed in the scene before him. A field full of dancing pumpkins, each pulsing with a golden light that seemed to have a life of its own. He could hardly believe his eyes. The pumpkins spun and twirled as if they were having their own party, and Nutty, with a sparkle of ambition in his eyes, decided he needed to have them. As he dove into collecting the pumpkins, something unexpected happened. When he tried to grab the first pumpkin, the fruit slipped from his paws and rolled away like it was playing hide-and-seek. Surprised, Nutty chased after it. But in seconds, the other pumpkins followed suit, rolling in every direction and creating a true chaos. "Hey, come back here!" Nutty shouted, but his calls were just another echo lost in the vastness of the forest. The dancing pumpkins seemed to laugh, or at least that's how Nutty felt, as he found himself in the middle of a whirlwind of bouncing fruits. It was then that Eleanor, the wise owl, watched the scene from a distance. With her majestic wings, she flew to Nutty, landing gracefully on a nearby branch. "Nutty, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice gentle but filled with concern. "These pumpkins are guardians of the forest's joy. Your greed could cause a great imbalance." Nutty paused for a moment, breathing heavily. "But Elena, if I could collect them all, I would be the most famous squirrel. Just imagine, everyone talking about me." He was so obsessed with the idea of fame that he didn't see the impact of his actions. Elena shook her head, her large, wise eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Fame isn't everything, Nutty. True joy comes from sharing and celebrating special moments with friends. Do you really want to risk the happiness of the forest just to be famous?" Nutty hesitated, but the determination in his heart did not waver. I just want to be admired, Elena. Isn't that what everyone desires?" He looked at the field of dancing pumpkins, which continued to spin in a spectacle of color and movement. "Not everyone, Nutty," Elena replied. "Some of us just want to be surrounded by friends and celebrate life together. Think about what really matters." But Nutty was determined. "I'll show everyone what I'm capable of." He ignored Elena's advice and dove back into the swirling chaos of the pumpkins. As he tried to catch more and more, the pumpkins began to rebel, creating an even grander spectacle. They twirled and lit up, producing enchanting sounds that attracted all the animals in the forest. Soon, a crowd of curious onlookers gathered around Nutty. The fascinated gazes of the other animals made him even more excited. "Look, I've brought the show!" he exclaimed. But in his heart, a subtle doubt began to arise. What was he really doing? As he lost himself in thought, the pumpkins continued their frenetic dance, and Nutty realized that instead of being the center of attention, he was merely creating chaos. He looked around and saw the faces of his friends and neighbors, but he didn't see joy. He saw concern. Suddenly, Clara, the clever fox, arrived on the scene, observing the chaotic scene. "Nutty, this is not a good idea," she said with a serious look. "You're losing control of the situation. What you're doing isn't right." Nutty, still panting, tried to convince her. "But Clara, just imagine how everyone will admire me. We need these pumpkins." "No, Nutty," Clara replied firmly. "True happiness isn't about having everything for yourself, but about sharing. Look at them." She pointed to the animals, who were now worried and confused instead of happy and joyful. Nutty hesitated for the first time. He watched the faces of his friends and realized that the euphoria of fame was fading away. "What do you suggest, Clara?" he asked, feeling the weight of his choices. "Let's use these pumpkins for a big Halloween party," Clara suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We'll all be a part of it, and the joy will belong to everyone." Nutty looked at the dancing pumpkins, which were slowly calming down. The idea of sharing the joy with everyone made his heart feel warm. After all, that was what he really wanted, to be surrounded by friends and celebrate. He smiled, feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, fame wasn't what truly mattered. Nutty was in the midst of the chaos, surrounded by dancing pumpkins rolling in every direction. The golden glow of lanterns illuminated his small, furry body as he tried, in vain, to catch one of the mischievous fruits. He couldn't help but think about the fame those pumpkins could bring him, but as the situation grew more chaotic, his determination began to waver. That's when Clara, the clever fox, appeared in the distance. With her reddish fur shimmering under the moonlight, she approached, observing the scene with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Nutty!" she called, with a gentle yet firm voice. "What are you doing? This looks more like a disaster than a party." Nutty, panting and frustrated, looked at Clara. "Clara, you don't understand. These dancing pumpkins could make me the most famous squirrel in the forest. I just need to catch them." He pointed at the pumpkins that continued to roll and shine, almost mocking him. Clara shook her head, her expression serious. "Nutty, I understand what you're trying to do, but it's not worth it. These pumpkins are guardians of the forest's joy. If you keep being greedy, you could cause a great imbalance." Nutty hesitated upon hearing this. "But I want to be recognized. I want everyone to know who I am. He was so focused on his ambition that he didn't notice the agitation he had caused among the other animals who were beginning to gather, drawn by the spectacle. "Look around you, Nutty," Clara suggested, gesturing with her paw. "See how everyone is having fun, even amidst the chaos. True happiness isn't about keeping everything to yourself. It's about sharing special moments with friends." Nutty frowned and looked at the faces of the other animals. Rabbits, birds, and even an old deer, all laughing and admiring the dancing pumpkins. Something began to change within him. "Do you think maybe I should stop and think about what really matters?" he asked, his voice now softer and more reflective. "I know you're a generous squirrel, Nutty," Clara said with an encouraging smile. "Why don't we use these pumpkins for a big Halloween party? I'm sure all the animals would love it." But the spark in Nutty's eyes began to return. He contemplated the idea, and slowly a new kind of excitement filled him. A party! That could be amazing, and everyone could have fun together. The thought of seeing his friends' faces light up with joy, rather than just his own fame, started to make him feel exhilarated. "Yes, let's do it!" Nutty exclaimed, his eyes glowing with enthusiasm. "But how do we do it? The pumpkins are still rolling." "We can organize them together. If everyone helps, we'll manage," Clara replied, already moving to gather other animals. She called out to them while Nutty began to feel lighter, letting go of his obsession with fame and focusing on what truly mattered: shared happiness. With renewed determination, Nutty started moving, helping to gather the dancing pumpkins. He noticed that the energy around him had shifted. The animals were now cooperating, laughing, and having fun, and the atmosphere itself felt magical. "Hey everyone!" Nutty shouted, his voice now filled with joy. "Let's throw an amazing party! Let's use these pumpkins to light up the forest and celebrate our friendship." The animals began to applaud and moved toward Nutty, eager to help. Clara, by his side, smiled with satisfaction. Nutty then realized that the true fame he had longed for didn't come from being famous, but from being part of something bigger, from sharing meaningful moments with those he loved. Surrounded by friends, he finally understood the real meaning of happiness. Excited by the idea of a Halloween party, Nutty looked at Clara with sparkling eyes full of enthusiasm. "Let's do something amazing! Everyone is going to love the dancing pumpkins!" He jumped for joy, his little paws tapping on the ground as his mind buzzed with ideas. Clara, the clever fox, smiled at her friend. "Yes, but we need a plan. We can't just gather the pumpkins and expect everyone to show up. We need to create an event that no one will forget." She looked around the clearing, already imagining how they could transform it into a magical place. Elena, the wise owl, perched on a nearby branch and observed carefully. "A party requires more than just decorations, Nutty. We also need music, food, and of course, to invite all the animals of the forest." Her gentle voice brought a sense of seriousness to Nutty's excitement. "You're right, Elena. Let's make a guest list. We can write it on leaves," Nutty suggested, already running to gather some dry leaves that were falling to the ground. Clara followed him, laughing at her friend's excitement, while Elena flew around the clearing, thinking about how they could make the party even more special. As soon as Nutty brought back the leaves, Clara started dictating names. "Let's invite Tobias the rabbit, the hedgehog family, and of course, the fox from the neighboring field. They always bring delicious treats." Nutty wrote everything down, his little eyes shining with the thought of seeing all his friends together. "And the birds? They can bring songs for the party." "Great idea," Clara exclaimed. "I'll talk to the nearby birds. They love to sing and liven up parties." Hearing the conversation, Elena decided to chime in. "And don't forget that we need lanterns. The dancing pumpkins can help with that. Let's make magical lanterns to light up the party." Nutty, excited, started to run back to the pumpkin patch. "Let's go. We need to get the best pumpkins for the lanterns." Clara followed closely behind, while Elena flew above them, watching the path. When they arrived at the pumpkin patch, Nutty remembered the earlier confusion with the pumpkins. "Elena, do you think they'll still be acting strange?" he asked hesitantly. Elena landed beside him and replied, "If treated with respect, they can be very kind." Remember, Nutty, they hold the joy of the forest. Let's show them that we're here to celebrate, not to take. Nutty took a deep breath, determined to act wisely. He approached the first dancing pumpkin and, with a careful gesture, touched it. To his surprise, the pumpkin stopped and looked at him with a friendly glow. "Hi, little guardian. Let's have a wonderful party with you." The pumpkins began to sway gently, as if responding to Nutty's invitation. Clara, with a mischievous smile, picked one of the pumpkins and lifted it. "Look, Nutty, this one will be perfect for our first lantern." Nutty helped cut the top off the pumpkin carefully, while Elena watched and offered suggestions. "Remember to leave holes for the light to shine through. That way the lanterns will be even prettier." With each pumpkin they transformed, the clearing began to come alive. Golden lights danced as the lanterns were lit, and Nutty felt a wave of joy imagining the party that was to come. "This is going to be amazing. Everyone will love it. And we can't forget about the music," Clara reminded him. "I'll go get the birds and ask them to come sing for us." She quickly moved away while Nutty and Elena continued decorating the space. "Nutty, are you having fun?" Elena asked as they arranged the lanterns in a beautiful pattern. "Very much. I never thought a party could be this incredible," Nutty replied, his heart warmed by the anticipation. "And the best part is that I'm doing this with you." "Exactly," Elena smiled, her voice full of affection. "The real magic is in sharing special moments with friends." Nutty nodded, feeling more excited than ever. He knew that night would be unforgettable, not just because of the dancing lanterns, but because of the bond of friendship that strengthened with each new idea and every shared laugh. "Let's make this party the best the forest has ever seen." The party began to take shape in the magical clearing, and Nutty couldn't contain the excitement bubbling inside him. The sounds of laughter and conversation mingled with the rustling leaves in the wind, creating a delightful symphony. He positioned himself at the center of the clearing, watching as the forest animals arrived one by one, with wide smiles and curious looks. The light from the lanterns made from the dancing pumpkins illuminated the scene, reflecting the magic of the moment. Nutty felt his heart race. "I shouldn't be this nervous," he thought. "It's just a party." But the truth was, deep down, he felt a bit insecure. He had always wanted to be the most famous squirrel in the forest, but now, surrounded by friends, he began to question whether fame was really what he truly desired. "Nutty, look how beautiful everything is," exclaimed Clara, the clever fox, as she approached with a group of rabbits and deer. "You did an amazing job decorating the clearing." "Thank you, Clara," Nutty replied, trying to hide his anxiety. "But what if no one likes it? What if I can't make everyone have fun?" "Relaxing is key, my friend. Look around you. Everyone is here for you," Clara said, winking an eye. "Just enjoy the moment." As the animals gathered, Nutty began to realize the truth in Clara's words. He observed the expressions of joy on his friends' faces and felt a wave of warmth wash over his chest. He didn't need fame because he already had something much more valuable: friends who cared about him. Soon the space was filled with animals dancing, laughing, and sharing stories. Nutty stood still for a moment, soaking in the vibrant atmosphere. He saw a group of younger squirrels having fun next to one of the lanterns, their laughter echoing through the forest. Nutty smiled as he remembered when he himself was a small squirrel, full of dreams and imagination. "Hey, Nutty!" shouted one of the squirrels, waving at him. "You brought the dancing pumpkins. They're amazing." "Yeah, come and see," Nutty replied, feeling more confident with each word. "They're alive and magical." The little squirrels rushed over, fascinated. "Can we play with them?" they asked in unison, their eyes shining with excitement. "Of course! Let's dance with them," Nutty shouted, his enthusiasm growing. He joined the little ones, showing them how to move with the pumpkins, which seemed to respond to the energy of the party, bouncing and twirling with joy. In the midst of the fun, Nutty stopped and looked at Clara and Elena, who were watching from a distance, smiles of satisfaction on their faces. He felt grateful to have them by his side. "Hey, Clara! Elena!" he called, running over to them. Do you think everything is going well? I want everyone to have fun." "Nutty, you're doing a wonderful job," replied Eleanor, the wise owl, her voice soft and reassuring. "Look how happy everyone is. You've brought joy to the forest, and that's what really matters." Nutty sighed, feeling the pressure lift. "You're right. I just wanted everyone to like me." "You don't need fame to be loved," said Clara, placing a comforting paw on his shoulder. "True happiness is being surrounded by friends who care about you, and you've already achieved that." Nutty felt a wave of warmth flood his heart. He turned to the animals dancing around him, laughing and having a great time. "I don't need to be famous. I just want everyone here to feel happy and loved," he declared, the sincerity in his voice resonating in the clearing. And so, as the party continued to pulse with life, Nutty realized that true fame came from love and friendship, not from what one possesses. He smiled, feeling loved and valued, as the animals around him danced and celebrated the joy of being together. The party was in full swing, and the clearing in the Sierra de Guadarrama forest was illuminated by a soft, golden light emanating from the dancing pumpkins. Nutty, the mischievous squirrel, was at the center of a circle formed by the animals, all of them animated and excited. He looked around, seeing familiar faces, each reflecting joy and excitement. The music of the party echoed through the trees, and the full moon shone brightly, as if it were dancing along with them. Nutty felt his heart race as he perceived the vibrant energy filling the air. He positioned himself a bit forward, sensing it was time to express his feelings. With a sparkle in his eyes, he addressed all his friends. "Friends, look at us. We're all together, celebrating the magic of this night." The animals turned to him, some stopping their dance, while others continued to move energetically to the music. Clara, the clever fox, stepped forward and smiled. "That's right, Nutty. You brought us all together, and that's something very special." Nutty had a moment of reflection. He remembered how it all started, his quest for fame and recognition that almost led him away from what truly mattered. He took a deep breath, feeling calmer and more centered. "Today, I realize that true happiness doesn't come from having everything for oneself, but from sharing moments like this with you." The crowd of animals murmured in approval and joy. Elena, the wise owl, perched on a nearby branch, looked at Nutty with a glimmer of pride. "Nutty, you've learned a valuable lesson. Friendship and unity are the true treasures in life." Nutty smiled at Elena, and with a sincere gesture he said, "And I never would have come to this conclusion without you, my friend. Thank you for reminding me of what really matters." He turned to the other animals, who were watching him with attention and respect. "Let's make this night unforgettable. The party isn't just about the dancing pumpkins, but about us, the friendship we share, and the memories we create together." Nutty's proposal excited the animals even more. "Let's dance, let's celebrate," shouted an enthusiastic bunny. And soon, everyone began to move to the rhythm of the music, forming a circle around Nutty and the magical lanterns. The pumpkins, in a dazzling display of light, seemed to shine even brighter, as if they were enjoying the fun along with everyone. Nutty, now at the center of the party, began to dance, matching the movements of the others. He truly felt accepted and loved. "Look at us, we're one big family," he exclaimed as he surrendered to the music. The animals laughed and cheered, and Nutty realized that all his anxiety had vanished. With the engaging rhythm, Nutty felt inspired to make a speech. He positioned himself again, raising his front paws to capture everyone's attention. "Friends, this night is magical, not just because of the pumpkins, but because of each one of you. The joy we feel here is what makes life in the forest so special. Thank you all for being here and for being part of this celebration." The animals began to clap their paws and wings in applause, and Nutty felt stronger than ever. Let us always remember that true fame does not come from what we possess, but from the love and friendship we share. May we always gather like this, in moments of joy and togetherness. "Cheers to Nutty!" shouted Clara, raising her front paws. The other animals echoed in unison, their voices resonating through the forest. Nutty looked at Eleanor, who winked at him, and he realized that her wisdom had been crucial on his journey. And a special thanks to our friend Eleanor, who always guides us with her wisdom, Nutty said, gesturing to the owl. The crowd applauded again, and Nutty felt enveloped in a warm embrace of friendship. He knew that no matter what happened next, he would always have the companionship and love of his friends, and that was far more valuable than any fame he might have sought. As the party reached its climax, joy hung in the air like a sweet perfume. The animals danced under the moonlight, their smiles reflecting the glow of the lanterns made from dancing pumpkins. Nutty, at the center of the circle of friends, felt as though he were floating on a cloud of happiness. However, nature, as always, had its surprises. Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the forest, causing the leaves of the trees to whisper in a high-pitched tone. The lanterns began to sway, and unexpectedly, some of the pumpkins started to roll as if possessed by a mischievous spirit. Nutty, who had been watching the scene with a smile on his face, saw his laughter turn into concern as the pumpkins began to scatter in all directions. "Oh no, the pumpkins!" exclaimed Nutty, his eyes wide. "Someone, help!" The animals, who had been lost in the dance until then, stopped and watched the chaos unfold. The pumpkins, which had once been the center of the party, were now running freely across the clearing, bouncing and twirling as if trying to escape the excitement. Nutty felt a chill in his stomach as the joy turned into despair. "Calm down, Nutty!" shouted Clara, the clever fox, as she ran to his side. "We can solve this together." "But how?" Nutty replied, looking at the pumpkins that now seemed to dance chaotically. "They're escaping." "Let's form a line and try to surround them," suggested Clara, her gaze determined. "If we work together, we can do it." Nutty nodded, feeling more hopeful. "You heard her, everyone? We need all of you. Let's form a circle. 1, 2, 3. Let's go." Soon all the animals joined together, forming a line around the restless pumpkins. With a unified shout, they advanced, trying to encircle the dancing lanterns. Laughter and excitement began to return as they worked together. "Now, let's pull!" Clara commanded, giving the signal. The animals moved as one, and surprisingly, some of the most agile squirrels managed to reach the pumpkins that were farther away. Nutty, with his heart pounding, watched his friends run and jump, laughing at the situation despite the chaos. "Look, I got one!" shouted a young rabbit, holding a pumpkin that seemed more mischievous than the others. "It doesn't want to stay still." "Hold on tight," Nutty encouraged, feeling a new spirit of unity among them. "We're almost there." With much effort and laughter, the animals managed to gather most of the pumpkins, which now rested in a small pile, still trembling as if they were enjoying the game. Nutty, panting but radiant, looked at his friends and smiled. "You were amazing," he exclaimed, clapping his paws. "I never thought we'd pull it off." "It was all about working together," said Clara, winking at him. "And don't forget, Nutty, the true spirit of Halloween is in unity and friendship." Nutty nodded, feeling the truth in Clara's words. "Yes, you're right. Look at all of us. Together we are stronger." And so, with a new purpose, Nutty decided that not only should they gather the pumpkins, but they should also use this experience as a moment of celebration. "What do you think about using these pumpkins to light up the party even more?" he suggested, excitement returning to his tone. With a chorus of approval, the animals began working again, this time with a new focus. Nutty, Clara, and Elena guided the others in creating a light show, where each pumpkin would be placed in a special spot, illuminating the forest with a magical glow. As they arranged the lanterns, Nutty looked around and realized that the true party was not just about the dancing pumpkins, but about the unity and love they shared. He felt that in that moment he had learned a valuable lesson about friendship and the importance of helping each other, especially in difficult times. The party thrived under the magical light of the lanterns made from the dancing pumpkins, creating a spectacle of colors and shadows that danced among the trees of the forest. The animals gathered in groups, laughing and telling stories, while the gentle music of the wind rustled through the branches. Nutty, surrounded by his friends, felt a joy he had never experienced before. His heart pulsed in sync with the collective happiness that filled the air, and with each laugh that echoed, he felt more connected to that community. "Look, Nutty, the lanterns are shining brighter than ever," exclaimed Clara, the clever fox, pointing to the pumpkins that swayed gently, illuminating the faces of the animals dancing around them. "It's as if each one of them is dancing with us." "It's true, Clara," Nutty replied, grinning from ear to ear. "I never thought this would be so much fun. Look how happy everyone is." He paused for a moment to observe the animated faces of his friends, each reflecting light and joy. The laughter of a playful rabbit mingled with the excited shouts of younger squirrels trying to imitate the dances of the pumpkins. Nutty realized that instead of wishing for fame, he had found the true meaning of happiness, being surrounded by loved ones. "Do you think we can do this every year?" Nutty asked, his voice full of emotion. "A big party to celebrate the friendship and unity of the forest?" "Of course we can," Clara replied, wagging her tail with enthusiasm. "That would be amazing. We could even ask everyone to contribute their own ideas and traditions. And the stories," added Elena, the wise owl, who was watching the scene with a proud look. "All the traditions we can share will make this celebration even more special. The unity of all the animals will strengthen our bonds." Nutty felt a warmth in his chest upon hearing his friends. He had never felt so valued and loved. "Let's make sure this party is memorable. If each of us brings something special, we'll create an event that no one will ever forget." Clara's eyes sparkled at the idea. "We can have dance competitions, storytelling, even an obstacle course, and best of all, everyone can bring a special dish to share." "Yes!" shouted one of the rabbits, hopping with excitement. "I can bring my sweet carrots. They're the best part." And so, excitement took over the group, each animal contributing their own ideas. Nutty felt like a leader, not for having gathered the dancing pumpkins, but for inspiring his friends to dream together. He realized that true happiness didn't come from having more, but from sharing meaningful moments. As the party continued, Nutty stepped away from the group for a bit to soak in the scene. He saw the animals dancing under the light of the lanterns, their shadows projected onto the trees like a tapestry of joy. He smiled, feeling part of something greater. "Look, Nutty, come dance," Clara called, gesturing with her paw. "Don't just stand there." Nutty turned to his friends, and with a huge smile, he joined the circle forming. The music of the forest, with the gentle whisper of the wind and the chirping of crickets, seemed to invite him to move. He let himself be carried away by the music and danced, and for the first time, he felt that fame didn't matter. What really mattered was the joy of being with those he loved most. "This is the best night ever," Nutty shouted as he twirled with Clara and the others, "and it's all thanks to you." "And the dancing pumpkins," added a little squirrel, making everyone laugh. Nutty looked at the illuminated clearing, where friendship and joy intertwined in a spectacle he would never forget. With a light heart and filled with gratitude, he realized that the unity of all the animals had created something much more valuable than any fame, a bond that would last forever. The party progressed with contagious joy, and the clearing in the Sierra de Guadarrama forest was filled with laughter and music. Surrounded by his friends, Nutty felt like never before. The lanterns made from the dancing pumpkins lit up the space, reflecting the happiness that filled each animal's heart. Clara, the clever fox, approached Nutty with a mischievous sparkle in her eyes. "Look at this, Nutty. Everyone is having so much fun. Did you notice how the joy has spread?" Clara exclaimed, jumping excitedly from side to side. Nutty smiled, taking in the enchanting scene. "Yes, Clara, it seems like everyone is enjoying every moment. The party is amazing." He looked around, seeing the rabbits dancing, the birds singing, and even the deer joining in the celebration. "I never imagined it could be this much fun." "And you know what that means, right?" Clara asked, tilting her head suggestively. "We should make this a tradition, an annual party to celebrate friendship and unity among us all." Nutty thought for a moment, imagining how wonderful it would be to repeat those moments of joy and connection. "Do you think everyone would want to join in again next year?" "Of course," Clara affirmed, her eyes sparkling. "Let's ask them." She turned, calling the other animals. "Hey, everyone, come here!" The animals gathered around Clara and Nutty, curious about what the fox had in mind. Nutty took a deep breath, feeling the excitement in the air. "Hey, friends, Clara and I were thinking, how about we make this party a tradition? An annual celebration of friendship?" The animals began to murmur among themselves, and soon a little rabbit's voice stood out. "That would be amazing, Nutty. I would love to come back and dance with all of you again." And me," shouted a squirrel who was jumping with joy. "We can bring more food and more lanterns." The excitement grew, and each animal started sharing their ideas. A group of birds suggested creating new games for the next party, while the foxes thought about how they could decorate the clearing even more. "I can bring fruits and nuts so we can have a big snack table," offered one of the squirrels excitedly. "And I can help make more lanterns with those special pumpkins," said an owl, in a gesture of unity. Nutty watched each of his friends, feeling a wave of gratitude. "This is incredible, everyone. I'm so happy that you all are on board. This party is so special because we're together." "And also because you learned to share, Nutty," Clara added, winking at him with a playful smile. "You didn't just bring the lanterns, but also the light of friendship." Nutty blushed slightly, but felt warmed by Clara's words. "I only realized how much more fun it is when everyone is together. It's not about being famous or having everything, but about being with you all. That's what really matters." Elena, the wise owl, watched the scene with a proud smile. She approached and said, "Nutty, you've grown a lot tonight. True wealth isn't in the things we possess, but in the connections we make. You brought everyone together, and that is a precious gift." Nutty smiled, feeling happier than ever. "Thank you, Elena. Your wisdom has always been with me. I promise I will always share my discoveries with you all." The atmosphere of excitement and camaraderie filled the glade, and the idea of an annual party was firmly planted in the hearts of every animal. Nutty felt truly fulfilled, surrounded by friends who supported and valued him. As the lanterns glowed around him, he knew that the magic of that night wouldn't end there, but would continue to shine in their hearts and in the traditions they would create together. Nutty was about to say goodbye to his friends and return to his tree when a strange sensation hit him. He looked around, and the joy of the party began to fade, giving way to a growing unease. "Wait a minute," he thought. "Where is the dancing pumpkin I brought?" He looked around, but saw nothing. The memory of the illuminated pumpkin, with its soft, dancing glow, had been lost in the confusion of lanterns and laughter. "I can't leave a dancing pumpkin behind," Nutty exclaimed, his voice a mix of concern and determination. He quickly said goodbye to Clara and Eleanor, who watched him with curiosity. "Nutty, where are you going?" Clara asked, squinting under the lantern light. "One of the pumpkins. I need to find it," Nutty replied, already running toward the field where the party had begun. Upon reaching the field, Nutty stopped abruptly. The place was enveloped in an intense light, much brighter than the lanterns they had made. He cautiously approached, his heart racing. The pumpkin was there in the center of a golden light, pulsing as if it were alive. Nutty moved closer, his eyes wide in astonishment. "Hi, little friend," he said nervously. "Did you get lost?" To his surprise, the pumpkin began to glow even more brightly, and amid the light, a figure started to form. It was an elegant guardian, a magical creature seemingly made of leaves and light. Her eyes were deep and wise, and she wore a welcoming smile. Seeing Nutty, she spoke in a soft, melodic voice. "Nutty, you came to find me. I am the guardian of the dancing pumpkins, and you have proven yourself worthy of something very special." Nutty, astonished, blinked several times before he could formulate a response. "Worthy? Me? But I just wanted to be famous and throw a party." The guardian smiled. "Fame can be fleeting, dear Nutty. What you did tonight, bringing your friends together and sharing the joy of the dancing pumpkins, is the true treasure. You brought unity and happiness to the forest." Nutty listened to every word, feeling his heart warm. But I let greed blind me at first. I almost ruined everything, he admitted, remembering how he had ignored Elena's advice. That's exactly what makes your journey so special, the Guardian replied. You learned the most important lesson of all, the power of friendship and shared love. For that, I grant you a gift. With a wave of her hand, the Guardian made the pumpkin shine even brighter, and then, as if it had a life of its own, it began to spin and dance. This pumpkin is not just a decoration, Nutty. It is a magical guardian. Whenever you are in need, it will bring light and joy to you and your friends. Wow! Nutty exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. That's amazing! But what if I can't use this magic the right way? The Guardian tilted her head, looking thoughtful. Then always remember what you learned tonight. True magic isn't in the powers you possess, but in the kindness you share. When you act with love and generosity, the magic multiplies. Nutty nodded, a new understanding blossoming within him. Thank you, Guardian. I promise I will always share this joy with my friends. The Guardian gestured with her hand, and the light around them began to slowly dissipate. Remember, Nutty, the forest will always be full of magic, especially when you are surrounded by those you love. Go, and may the light of friendship always guide your path. With those words, Nutty felt a warmth in his heart, and as he looked at the dancing pumpkin, he knew he had gained not just a beautiful keepsake, but also a new purpose in his life. He dashed back to the glade, eager to share his experience and the new magic he had found. But hold on, for there's still more to be told. Let's start another story. In the vast and sunny field of daisies in Galicia, the hare Juanita ran as if her life depended on it. Her agile paws pounded the ground in a frantic rhythm, kicking up small clouds of dust that danced in the sunlight. Her heart raced, and her breath echoed in the fresh morning air. I need to find more happiness, she thought as she darted through a sea of vibrant flowers swaying gently in the breeze. Each flower seemed to call her, every petal an invitation to appreciate the moment. But Juanita had no time for that. Happiness in her mind was always just ahead, beyond that hill or after that clearing. Look at her, commented one of the ladybugs watching the scene with a concerned expression. Poor Juanita never stops. She doesn't realize that life is happening all around her. Another ladybug beside her nodded in agreement. It's true. If she would just pause for a moment, she could see the beauty right here. Meanwhile, Juanita continued her wild dash, passing a group of rabbits having fun in a corner of the field. One of them, an older rabbit named Pedro, perked up his ears and said, Juanita, don't you think you're running too fast? Sometimes it's good to slow down and enjoy what we have here. But the hare merely nodded and shot off toward the next flower, ignoring the advice. In a burst of determination, she increased her speed even more. The wind cooled her face, but a growing sense of frustration bubbled inside her. Where is this happiness I'm searching for? Juanita wondered as she leaped over a small stone. However, her speed was not enough to prevent disaster. In a clumsy moment, her paws tangled on the stone, and with a dull thud, the hare fell flat on her belly. Oh no, not again, she exclaimed, quickly getting up and shaking the dust from her brown fur. Looking around with an irritated expression, she lamented, Why do I always have to trip like this? This search is exhausting. Her frustration was palpable, but the hare wouldn't allow herself to stop. With one last sigh, she composed herself and decided to continue her search, unaware that her haste was pulling her away from everything that truly mattered. As Juanita scampered away, the ladybugs watched her, still worried. She needs help, one of them said, determined. If she doesn't stop to breathe, she's going to hurt herself for real. The others agreed, but knew they could do nothing but wait for the hare to realize the importance of slowing down on her own. And so, amidst the rush and hurry, Juanita continued her journey through the field, oblivious to the fact that true happiness might be hidden in the small things she was leaving behind. The beauty of the flowers, the song of the birds, and the friendship of the animals around her were treasures she could not see. After all, for Juanita, happiness was still somewhere far away, waiting to be found. As Juanita tried to regain her composure after the tumble, her attention was drawn to a delicate movement among the flowers surrounding her. A butterfly with colorful wings, shimmering in shades of blue and bright orange, danced through the air, moving with a grace that seemed almost magical. The hare stopped, panting, and fixed her gaze on the enchanting creature. It was as if time had slowed down, and for a brief moment, Juanita forgot her relentless quest for happiness. The butterfly, introducing herself as Sophia, seemed to notice the hare's presence. With a gentle movement, she landed on one of the flowers, causing the vibrant petals to sway lightly. Juanita couldn't help but approach, intrigued and in awe. "You're so beautiful," she exclaimed. "How do you manage to fly with such grace?" "Thank you, dear hare." Sophia smiled, her antennae twitching with joy. "The beauty of my flight comes from something deeper. I dance among the flowers because they tell me stories, and I share them with the wind." "Stories?" Juanita echoed, her ears perking up. "About what?" The butterfly then turned, delicately landing on a forgotten flower, a wilted one named Marisol. "This is Marisol. She has many stories to tell, even if she's a bit sad right now." Juanita, curious yet somewhat skeptical, moved even closer. "But why are you near such a wilted flower? Wouldn't it be better to fly toward the vibrant flowers around you?" "Oh, but it's precisely because Marisol is wilted that her stories are so valuable," replied Sophia, looking tenderly at the flower. "She has lived beautiful moments and also difficult times. Beauty is not just in appearance, but in the experiences each of us carries in our hearts." The hare felt a pang of curiosity. "Marisol, do you have stories? What can you tell me?" The question slipped out almost as a whisper, as if she feared breaking the magic of the moment. Marisol, who had been nearly hidden among the green leaves, raised her head slowly. "Yes, my young friend," she began, her voice soft like a breath of wind. "Once I was the most vibrant flower in this field. I danced with the breeze, attracting bees and butterflies. Children would come to play around me and I felt alive." Juanita was mesmerized. "What happened to you?" she asked, gazing into the flower's wilted eyes. "With time, the seasons changed, the rains became scarce, and the sun, which once shone upon me, began to abandon me. But even so, I never stopped dreaming of the days when I was beautiful. Each petal that falls is a memory, and with each passing day, I hold on to a new story," said Marisol, her voice heavy with nostalgia. "Stories of beauty and resilience," Sophia commented, fluttering around the flower. "Each of us has a role to play in the cycle of life. Sometimes we need to learn to appreciate the beauty in small things, even when they seem faded." Juanita was fascinated, feeling that something inside her was beginning to change. "I've spent so much time running, searching for happiness in distant places, that I never stopped to listen to stories like yours," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "Maybe I've lost a lot by not valuing what is around me. Yes, dear hare. Happiness is not a destination, but a journey taken with each step and every moment lived," Marisol concluded, a glimmer of hope shining in her wilted petals. Juanita looked at the butterfly and the flower, a new understanding beginning to blossom within her. "I promise to listen more and run less. I want to learn from you." And so the hare, the butterfly, and the flower became inseparable, united by a bond of friendship and learning that promised to illuminate Juanita's path to true happiness. Marisol, the wilted flower, began to narrate her stories in a soft, melodic voice. Her petals, though tired, reflected a serene light under the Galician sun. Juanita, now sitting on a green leaf beside the flower, listened with renewed attention. The hare had never allowed herself to stop and listen. "Oh, my dear, there was a time when I was the most beautiful flower in this field," Marisol began, her voice filled with nostalgia. "My petals were as vibrant as the blue sky, and I danced in the breeze, attracting butterflies and birds. There was so much laughter and joy around me." You danced? Juanita interrupted, her eyes wide with curiosity. What is it like to dance? It was like floating, Marisol replied, a nostalgic smile on her lips. I moved gracefully, as if I were in a ballet, and each breeze made me feel alive. But over time, the clouds gathered, and the rain that once nurtured me turned into a storm. I lost my color and my strength. Juanita felt a pang in her heart. I'm sorry, Marisol, but you're still special even so. Sophia is always near you. Ah, yes, my friend Sophia, said Marisol, looking at the butterfly delicately perched on one of her leaves. She always reminds me that beauty is not just in appearance, but in the stories we carry. Every scar, every moment of pain brings with it a lesson. You have so many stories to tell then, Juanita observed, fascinated. What else can you share? Let me tell you about the day I met the old oak, Marisol began, her voice now more animated. He stood there, majestic and wise, observing everything around us. I didn't know at the time, but he had witnessed flowers bloom and wither, entire lives passing by. One day I approached him and asked, "How do you manage to stay so strong, even when everything around you changes?" And what did he say? Juanita asked, leaning forward, eager for more details. The oak smiled and said, "Mine dear flower, true strength does not come from appearance, but from resilience. The winds of life may shake us, but it's our ability to adapt that keeps us standing. Learn to appreciate each season, and you will find beauty in each of them." Juanita reflected on those words. Sometimes I feel like I'm always running, searching for something I don't even know what it is. But listening to you and the oak, I realize I might need to learn to stop and appreciate what I already have. Exactly, exclaimed Marisol, her petals trembling with enthusiasm. Life is made up of small moments, and often we lose ourselves in the rush. You, my friend, have the opportunity to live fully, if only you allow yourself. Juanita smiled, feeling a new energy within her. I think I want to learn to live like that. I want to hear more stories, not just yours, but from everyone around me. That's what really matters, isn't it? Yes, dear hare, said Marisol, with a glimmer of hope in her voice. Every being has a story, and each story is a piece of the tapestry of life. By listening, you connect with the world in a profound way. At that moment, Sophia, the butterfly, approached and said, Juanita, you're starting to understand the true essence of happiness. It's not about destinations, but about the journey and the connections we make along the way. Juanita looked at her new friends, feeling a wave of gratitude. I promise I won't run without looking around anymore. I want to learn from you and from everyone who lives in this field. That's all we wish for, said Marisol, her tone now filled with emotion. Life is a gift, and each day is a new opportunity to bloom, even when things seem difficult. And so, in that field of daisies in Galicia, Juanita began to understand that happiness was not found in running after it, but in stopping, listening, and learning from the stories around her. The hare, now with a new purpose, was ready to embrace the beauty of small things. Juanita, now calmer and curious, followed the butterfly Sophia and the flower Marisol through the vibrant field. The sun shone brightly and the daisies swayed gently in the breeze, but the hare no longer ran as before. Her heart pulsed at a calmer rhythm, and her mind was open to new discoveries. It was in this spirit that, as they approached a clearing, they spotted a group of ladybugs gathered around a small flower that looked a bit sad. What's happening here? Juanita asked, approaching with a glimmer of curiosity in her eyes. One of the ladybugs, with red spots and a determined look, lifted her gaze and replied, This flower, named Lucia, is recovering from a storm that left her hurt. We are here to help her heal. Juanita observed the wilted flower, nestled among the leaves, and felt a pang of empathy. She remembered the stories of Marisol and how each one brought a lesson. Can I help too? Asked the hare, sincerity in her voice. The ladybugs glanced at each other, surprised by the hare's offer of help. Of course, the more hands the better. exclaimed an older ladybug, her voice gentle. Solidarity is what makes our field flourish. Juanita approached the flower Lucia, who looked at her with hope. Don't worry, Lucia. We're going to take care of you, she said, trying to convey confidence. With the help of the ladybugs, who had their small gardening tools, they began to work. Juanita quickly learned how the ladybugs use their legs to loosen the soil around the flower, allowing the roots to breathe and absorb water better. Look, Juanita, said one of the ladybugs, while showing how to water the plant with dewdrops they had collected. Every little gesture counts. Lucia needs our attention and care to recover. This is amazing, exclaimed Juanita as she tried the technique. It's like we're joining forces to bring life back to the field. As they worked, Juanita began to chat with the ladybugs. They shared stories about how, together, they had overcome challenges and helped other flowers recover after storms. One day, we had to help a tree that lost all its fruits, began a bolder ladybug. We worked day and night, and in the end, not only did the fruits come back, but the tree became even stronger. Juanita was impressed. I never thought it could be so rewarding to help other creatures in the field. I was so focused on running that I didn't realize how much I could learn from you. The ladybug, smiling, replied, Life is full of surprises, Juanita. Sometimes you need to stop and look around to realize how interconnected we all are. As time passed, the flower Lucia began to look more vibrant. Her once wilted petals started to regain color and strength. The happiness was palpable among the animals who united to help. Look, shouted one of the ladybugs, jumping for joy. Lucia is responding to our care. Juanita smiled, feeling warmth inside her. This is wonderful. I want to do more. How can I help other flowers and plants like this? The ladybugs looked at each other, amazed by the hare's enthusiasm. You can help us always. Every time you stop to listen and care, you'll be contributing to the beauty of our field, said the older ladybug, with a sparkle in her eyes. Juanita felt a profound sense of belonging. She had found a new passion, caring for her home and the beings that inhabited it. Then let's keep going, she exclaimed, determined. I want to be part of this community and learn every day. With that, the ladybugs and Juanita continued to work, uniting their forces and hearts for Lucia's recovery. And so, amidst the warmth of the sun and the fragrance of the flowers, a new chapter of friendship and solidarity unfolded in the vast field of Galicia, where the once hurried hare was now becoming a true guardian of the beauty around her. During one of her peaceful walks in the field, Juanita ventured further than usual. The hare, now more attentive to her surroundings, noticed an old oak tree majestically standing in the middle of a field of daisies. Its leaves, though worn by time, seemed to tell stories and secrets that only the oldest knew. Juanita approached with a mix of curiosity and reverence, admiring the scars on the trunk that seemed to narrate a long life filled with experiences. Hello, wise oak, Juanita called, her voice soft as the passing breeze. You seem to have seen many things over the years. May I sit here beside you for a while? Of course, little hare, replied the oak with a deep and serene voice. Sit down and listen. There is much I can share with you, if you are willing to hear. Juanita settled on the soft ground, admiring the cool shade the oak provided. I've always been so hurried in my life, running from one place to another, that I never took the time to think about what really matters, she confessed, looking at the leaves swaying gently. Ah, haste is a common companion among the young, said the oak. But life has its own pace, and there is beauty in learning to appreciate each moment. What are you seeking, dear one? Happiness is not a destination, but a journey. I don't know. I always thought happiness was in a distant place, something I could reach if only I ran faster, Juanita replied, her voice filled with uncertainty. But now, listening to Marisol's stories, I feel like I might have missed something important. The oak lightly swayed its leaves as if nodding. Life is full of lessons, both small and great. When you rush, you miss the nuances of the moments lived, the colors of the flowers around you, the songs of the birds, and even the stories of those who came before you. But how can I learn to slow down? Sometimes I feel like time is passing quickly, and I need to do so many things," Juanita said, restless. "Ah, my young friend," the oak replied softly. "Patience is a virtue that comes with time. Each season brings its own lessons. Learn to observe, to listen, and to feel. When you slow down, you make room for wisdom to enter your heart." Juanita reflected on these words. "So, you mean I should value the small moments and the stories around me, like those of Marisol and Sophia?" "Exactly. Every being in the field has its own narrative. The wilted flower you found has much to teach about resilience and hope. Time can wear us down, but it can also heal and renew. Just like me, who has been here for many years, witnessing cycles of life and death." The hare, now calmer, felt a wave of understanding. "I want to learn, oak tree. I want to be part of this beauty you speak of." "Then start observing. Value what is around you. Remember that each day is a new opportunity to discover. Life is not just about what you do, but how you do it. Love, friendship, and care are the true treasures." Juanita smiled, feeling renewed by the wisdom of the old oak. "Thank you, dear friend. I promise I will try to slow down and listen more. I want to learn the lessons that life has to teach me. Good luck, little hare. I will be here whenever you need a friend or advice," the oak said, its voice softly echoing in the air. Juanita said goodbye to the oak, feeling lighter and more hopeful. The hare's journey was just beginning, and now she carried with her the wisdom of an old friend, ready to discover the stories and beauties that life had to offer, one moment at a time. Juanita felt different. The hurried days when she rushed without thinking were transforming into moments of contemplation. Now, instead of simply passing by vibrant flowers, she stopped to admire each petal, each nuance of color. The hare, once caught in her relentless quest for happiness, had learned to appreciate the beauty around her. It was a new phase of her life, and somehow everything seemed more radiant. One morning, as the sun gently rose on the horizon, Juanita decided it was time to share her new perspective with her friends. "Today will be a special day," she thought, as she hopped through the field toward Sophia and Marisol. When she arrived, she found Sophia delicately resting on a green leaf. "Good morning, Sophia," exclaimed Juanita, her eyes sparkling. "Today I want to do something different. Let's take care of our field together." Sophia perked up her antennae, intrigued. "Take care of the field? What do you have in mind, Juanita?" "I want to organize a care day. Let's invite all our friends to water the flowers, help the ladybugs, and make this place flourish even more." The hare was full of enthusiasm, and her contagious energy brightened the atmosphere. Marisol, still a bit wilted, but now with a touch of hope in her petals, smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Juanita. Your love and dedication can make a big difference. The field needs us." "Yes, we need to come together," added Sophia, flying closer to the hare. "Unity is strength, and everyone can contribute in their own way. Let's rally everyone." Juanita nodded, already imagining how the day would unfold. "I'll talk to the ladybugs. They are always eager to help. And who knows, maybe the old oak can offer us some tips on how to care for the plants." With a plan in mind, Juanita set off in search of her ladybug friends. When she found them, she explained her idea, and soon all were excited to help. "Let's make the field an even more beautiful place," shouted one of the ladybugs, flapping her wings in joy. That day, the hare and her friends gathered under a radiant sun. Animals from all over the field joined them, bringing makeshift watering cans, seeds, and even small buckets to collect water. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and excitement. Juanita felt that something special was happening. The community was coming together, and it filled her with indescribable joy. "Let's start with the most ailing flower in the field," suggested a ladybug, pointing to a daisy that looked tired and lifeless. Juanita crouched down beside the flower and with a smile said, "Don't worry, we're here to take care of you." As they worked, Juanita remarked, "You know, I used to not realize how a small gesture could make a difference. I was so busy running that I didn't see the beauty around me." Sophia, flying in circles above the hare, replied, "It's amazing how life can teach us, isn't it? What you did by opening up to new experiences brought not only you, but all of us together." Marisol, now with a renewed sparkle in her petals, added, "And this is not just about caring for the flowers. It's about caring for one another, creating bonds, and building a strong community." Juanita felt her heart warm with those words. "Yes, and each of us has an important role. I promise that from now on, I will always pay attention to the little things in life." The day went on, and the field, once forgotten, began to bloom again under everyone's care. Juanita looked around and saw happiness on every little animal's face, every vibrant color of the flowers being nurtured. What was once a solitary race was now a shared journey, and she could not be happier. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the field changed dramatically. The sky, once displaying a radiant blue, had turned into a threatening gray canvas. Thick clouds gathered, and the wind blew with increasing force, making the flowers bend as if bidding farewell to the sun. Juanita, with goosebumps from the chilly breeze, looked around and noticed the worry reflected in the animals' faces. "We need to prepare," exclaimed Juanita, her eyes wide and alert. "A storm is coming, and we can't let everything we've cared for be swept away." Sophia, the colorful butterfly, flew to Juanita and landed gently on her nose, causing her to sneeze. "Juanita, what if Marisol can't withstand this storm? She's already so wilted." Sophia's concern was palpable, and Juanita felt her heart tighten at the thought of the forgotten flower. "We can't give up on her. We have to protect her," Juanita said, determined. "Let's unite and do what we can." She looked at the old oak tree, which stood firm, like a guardian of the field. "Oak, do you have any suggestions?" The oak, with its deep and calm voice, replied, "The strength of a community is its greatest resource. Together you can accomplish much more than alone. Split into groups and help one another. And don't forget to cover Marisol with leaves. She needs protection." With a nod, Juanita gathered the animals. "Let's form a protective circle. The ladybugs can cover Marisol with leaves, while the others help reinforce our shelters. We need to act fast." Agitation filled the field as everyone moved quickly. The ladybugs, in a coordinated effort, began gathering large green leaves, creating a kind of blanket for Marisol. "Be careful! Don't hurt her!" shouted one ladybug, while the others worked hard to gather the leaves. "Come on, everyone! If each of us does our part, we can make it!" Juanita encouraged those around her as she helped stabilize one of the shelters built with the other animals. The wind began to howl, and heavy, rapid raindrops fell, as if the sky were crying for the earth. "Juanita, look!" Sophia shouted, flying to one side and pointing with her wings. "Marisol is shrinking. We need to do something immediately." Juanita ran to the flower, which was curling toward the ground, as if trying to hide from the storm. "Marisol, we're here for you," she shouted. "We won't let anything bad happen. You're strong. We believe in you." "Juanita, I don't know if I can hold on," Marisol said, her voice weak and trembling. "I'm so tired and wilting." "Don't say that, Marisol," Juanita replied, determination in her voice. "You're a special flower, and everyone here believes in you. No matter what happens, we will be together." The storm intensified and lightning sliced through the sky, followed by thunder that echoed in the hearts of those in the field. "Come on, everyone! Stay together!" Juanita shouted, her heart pounding. "We need to be each other's strength." As the rain fell torrentially, the animals united, forming a circle around Marisol. The ladybugs, in their small bodies, worked hard to cover her with the leaves, while the other creatures sheltered one another. Juanita looked at Sophia, seeing worry in the butterfly's eyes. "I promise I will take care of her no matter what happens," Juanita said, feeling the strength of her determination. "Let's stick together." The raindrops became an impenetrable curtain, and the deafening sound of the wind and storm made it difficult to hear their own thoughts. But within that chaos, an idea began to blossom in Juanita's mind. Unity was the answer, and the strength of their friendship could be the light guiding them through the darkness. And so, with an indomitable spirit and the promise to care for Marisol, the hare and her friends weathered the storm, firm in their determination to protect what they had cultivated together. After the devastating storm, the field, once pulsing with colors and life, now lay as a vast desert of destroyed flowers. Juanita, with a heavy heart, led her friends toward the place where there had once been a sea of daisies. The scene before her was heartbreaking. The cold wind blew, carrying away the last traces of joy that had once filled that space. "Look at what the storm did," Juanita murmured, her voice trembling. The ladybugs, who had been busy helping a flower recover, now watched in silence, their little eyes shining with sadness. Sophia, the butterfly, flew from flower to flower, trying to find hope amid the destruction. "We're all in this together," said one of the ladybugs, trying to encourage the others. "If we show solidarity, we can recover what we lost." "That's true," exclaimed Sophia, landing next to Juanita. "Each of us has a role to play. We can't give up now, not when we have each other." Inspired by her friend's words, Juanita lifted her head. "Let's assess the damage and see what we can do. Marisol needs us, and so do all the flowers in the field." Walking with determination, the hare and her friends began to inspect the most affected areas. Many flowers were broken, their stems bent, and some had been completely uprooted. But amid the despair, Juanita spotted something that made her stop. "Look!" she shouted, pointing to a small sprout struggling to emerge from the muddy ground. "It's a flower, a survivor flower," said a ladybug, flying in joyful circles. Juanita approached, gently touching the green leaf. "If this little flower can fight to grow, then so can we." The light in her eyes reflected a new hope. With that, the hare organized her friends into groups. "Let's divide the tasks. Some ladybugs can help replant the flowers that still have roots, while others can search for new seeds. Sophia, you can fly and look for flowers that are recovering nearby." Sophia nodded, her heart full of determination. "I'll do my best. Let's go, my friends." And so each one set off to fulfill their role, driven by a new purpose. As the animals worked, Juanita remembered the lessons Marisol had shared. Caring for the field is like caring for a friend. We need to be patient and gentle, she thought. The hare began to replant the flowers they managed to save, placing each one with care in the soil. "Come back, flowers. We believe in you," she murmured, as if the flowers could hear her voice. The ladybugs, in their mission, began to collect the seeds that had fallen during the storm. "These seeds are new opportunities, Juanita," one of them said, while filling her paws with the contents. "Each one of them has the potential to become a beautiful flower." "That's right. Let's plant them all," replied the hare, excited. The teamwork was forging a strong bond among everyone, and the determination of each was palpable in the air. After hours of work, the hare and her friends began to see the first signs of life. Flowers that seemed lost were being replanted, and the field was starting to regain its color. Juanita's renewed energy was contagious, and everyone was more motivated than ever. "We're doing this together," Juanita said, looking at her friends. "And that makes all the difference. Recovery isn't easy, but it's rewarding." "And every little action counts, right?" commented Sophia, who had returned from her search. "The strength of our community makes us stronger." "Yes, with love and care, we can overcome any storm," replied Juanita, feeling more connected to nature and her friends than ever. The hare knew that the path to recovery was still long, but now she was certain that together they could face any challenge ahead. The sun began to set, painting the sky in golden and orange hues, while a gentle breeze wrapped around the blooming field. Juanita, now a more peaceful and aware hare, watched with a serene smile at the flowers around her. The field, which once seemed just a place to pass through quickly, was now a true home, filled with life and vibrant colors. The storm had left its marks, but recovery was visible in every sprout that emerged from the ground, in every laugh of the animals who had united in a common effort. "Look how beautiful everything is," exclaimed Juanita, spinning around, her eyes shining with joy. The ladybugs, now her friends, flew about happily, helping to pollinate the flowers that were coming back to life. "Each of you made a difference. Together, we are stronger." The ladybugs gathered in a small group, and one of them, the boldest, responded, "That's true, Juanita. When we work together, we can overcome any storm." The spirit of unity that formed in the field was palpable, and everyone felt they were part of something greater. With the idea of celebrating the recovery of the field, Juanita decided to organize a big party. She began planning the details, calling all the friends she had made during her journey. "Let's gather and give thanks for everything we've accomplished. We need to celebrate our friendship and resilience." The excitement was contagious, and soon all the animals were involved in preparing for the party. On the day of the celebration, the field was adorned with newly blossomed flowers, and joy filled the air. Juanita, with a small scarf tied around her neck, looked at the preparations with a satisfied smile. "Come on, everyone, the party is about to start. I want to see everyone dancing and having fun." The animals, for the most part, were busy with the final touches, but Juanita's enthusiasm was infectious. The butterfly Sophia, who had become a true friend of the hare, gently landed beside her. "You really did an amazing job, Juanita. The field has never looked so beautiful," she said, admiring the scene around her. "Thank you, Sophia, but it wouldn't have been possible without everyone's help." "Each of you has an important role here," Juanita replied, gratitude in her voice. As the sun slowly set, giving way to a starry night, the animals began to gather. The old oak tree, which had been watching over everything with its heavy branches of wisdom, had a warm gaze. "It's a pleasure to see all of you gathered like this. Life is made of moments like this, where friendship and solidarity bloom," he commented, his deep voice echoing among the presents. In a burst of affection, Juanita climbed onto a small rock to address everyone. "Friends, we are here today to celebrate our unity and the beauty of our field. Each of you, with your talents and efforts, has helped bring life back to this place. May we always remember the importance of caring for each other and our home." Applause and cheers echoed through the field as everyone formed a circle. The ladybugs began to dance, and soon all the animals joined in the celebration. Laughter and songs filled the atmosphere, and the spirit of camaraderie had never been stronger. "Let's make a toast," suggested Sophia, raising her delicate wings. "To our friendship and the field we love so much." Everyone raised small leaves and flowers, making an improvised toast, and Juanita felt her heart overflow with joy. The party continued late into the night, with stories being shared, dances and smiles. Juanita realized that, contrary to what she had always thought, true happiness was not in chasing something distant, but in valuing the simple moments and the connections that formed around her. The field, now full of life and unity, was proof that resilience and love could overcome even the strongest storms. The sun began to set, painting the sky in orange and pink as the celebration reached its peak. Laughter and music echoed through the field, and all the animals were gathered, celebrating the unity and resilience they had cultivated together. Juanita, now more relaxed and filled with gratitude, watched her friends dance and have fun, feeling a deep joy in her heart. It was then that Sophia, the butterfly, gently landed on her shoulder, interrupting her thoughts. "Juanita, look!" exclaimed Sophia, her vibrant wings shining under the twilight. "Marisol is ready to surprise us." The hare turned with curiosity, and her eyes widened as she saw all the animals gathering around Marisol, the flower that once seemed forgotten. With a special glow, Marisol began to open her petals, revealing vibrant colors that seemed to capture all the sunlight. It was a spectacle of beauty that left everyone in awe. "Marisol, you look stunning!" shouted one of the ladybugs, flying in circles around the flower. "I've never seen anything so beautiful." "That's true," added a small squirrel, clapping his little paws. "You are a special flower, you always have been." Juanita, moved by the moment, slowly approached. "Marisol, you were just waiting for the right moment to shine, weren't you?" "I always knew you had something incredible inside you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm sorry I didn't notice it before." Now, in full bloom, Marisol seemed to hear Juanita's words. "Oh, dear Juanita, each of us has our time, don't we? I just needed a little care and patience, just like you, who learned to appreciate the little things. Life is made of cycles, and we all have our place in this dance." the flower replied with a softness that touched the hearts of everyone around. That's true, Marisol, said Sophia, fluttering around the flower. We butterflies also go through waiting periods before we become who we truly are. Beauty may be hidden, but with love and attention, it always finds its way to shine. The celebration continued, now with a new focus. Everyone gathered around Marisol, who stood majestically, feeling part of something greater. Juanita, looking at her friends, realized that each of them played a fundamental role in the harmony of the field. It was a moment of unity and recognition, where every small gesture of care and solidarity transformed into a great force. Let's celebrate the beauty that exists in each of us, Juanita shouted, raising her front paws to attract everyone's attention. Today we're not just celebrating the recovery of the field, but the friendship we've built. Each of you is special and is part of this beautiful tapestry called life. A chorus of applause and joyful shouts echoed across the field. Everyone was excited, dancing and singing, while Marisol stood out as a symbol of resilience and renewal. Music filled the air, and laughter mingled with the sweet fragrance of the newly bloomed flowers. At the height of the celebration, Juanita approached Marisol, who now exuded a soft, sweet aroma. I promise I will never forget the beauty of the little things, and that I will always take care of you and our friends, whispered the hare, looking sincerely into the flower's eyes. I will always be here, waiting to shine, Marisol replied, her petals glowing with gratitude. And whenever you need me, come to me. Together, we can make the field bloom even more. With one last look at the flower, Juanita smiled and joined her friends as the sun bid farewell on the horizon, bringing a new day full of possibilities. In that vibrant field, the hare had found not only the beauty around her, but also the joy of belonging to a community that cherished every moment, every friendship, and every story. And there, under the starry sky, they all embraced, promising to care for one another and celebrate every instant of life. Sleep tight, little dreamers. I'll be here again tomorrow with new tales for us to enjoy together.